Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know why I say good morning. I mean, it's like 7 o'clock right now when I'm filming this. I just happened to get a bug up my ass as I was getting dressed this morning, decided I was gonna film a little bit today. So this video, as the title suggests, is going to be the New Year booktuber tag. So I haven't really, I've seen the questions, but I have not sat down and really thought about them. So we'll see how this video actually turns out. Feel like I'm super far away for some reason. I don't know. Okay, so the first question is, what are you most excited about for 2023? What am I most excited about for 2023? God, I don't even know. I'm assuming this is just like an in general question. It doesn't have to be book related. Well, okay, so here's one thing I'm kind of excited about, but we'll see if it takes off or not. So my friend's husband wants to start a podcast. He's kind of in like the preliminary stages of it, and I'm not co-hosting or anything, but like I definitely told him, I was like, I'll be a guest, because it's kind of like he's gonna have like this, it's gonna be like a movie, I guess a movie podcast where they talk, like watch movies, talk about movies, and just have like a discussion and stuff. He mentioned it and I said, I'll do it, like if you want someone to do it with you, because his wife was kind of like, I don't really want to be your host. Your co-host. So he has a friend that's going to co-host with him, but I said, listen, anytime you want someone else to come on, like I'll phone in, and if I have to, I'll come in on Zoom. But so I'm hoping that that takes off and he goes somewhere with it, because I'd be really down to do that. And then I'm also on my channel, I'm doing it once. I don't know when this is going out, but I have a friend who wanted to try what it's like, see what it's like being on camera and being in a video. So we decided we're gonna pick a movie to watch, and we're gonna do a live reaction to it as we're watching it. It's not book related. I do have another bookish idea. I'm gonna I tend to bulk film. I do at least 2 at a time. So while he's here, I'll probably do a bookish related video. So at least there's something book related to go up as well with this. So I don't know if that's gonna turn into like a series or not, or if it's gonna be a one-off, if it's even gonna get posted, we'll see. So I don't know, stay tuned for that whole thing. But yeah, so I'm kind of excited to do that and see what comes of it. Just trying out new formats and new video ideas. I'm hoping, I'm looking forward to assuming I don't fall into another slump like I always do. I did last year at the end of the year for a couple months where I didn't film anything for a while. But I'm hoping to just grow a little bit more, do a little bit more filming, that kind of, see what happens. We'll see. Okay, so do you have a Goodreads challenge goal, and why that number? Yes, I do a Goodreads challenge every year. I love the Goodreads challenge. I've actually upped my number from previous years, except for last year I upped my number. I usually do in like the 30s. Last year my goal was 50 books, and I surpassed that. I read 67, which was super exciting. That's more than I've ever read in a year. So this year the goal is the same. It's 50 books. I tend to do it because there's 52 weeks in a year. I figure 50 is a nice rounded number, and that's about a book a week, which seems doable to me, especially now that I've been into doing audiobooks. So I like achieving the goal. I don't like setting my goal so obnoxious that I can't ever meet it. So I really like having something that's reasonable and achievable for me. Last year was the first year I've actually met that goal. Like I said, in previous years, I think the year before that is when I first set it at 50. And I read 37, so I didn't even meet it. But last year was a really good reading year for me. My next question, list at least 3 5-star predictions. Okay, so in the near future, actually by the time this goes out, I might have read it already, I don't know, but I'm going to read The Anti-Heroes and Love Duet. That's technically 2 books, but you can buy it as a set, so I'm going to call it one. By Gianna Darling, that's When Heroes Fall, When Villains Rise. I think those are going to be 5-star books, because I have been waiting to read, not waiting to read it. I have been putting off reading this book because I am just so, I was so excited to read it that I'm almost afraid to read it. I don't want it to be over. And I mentioned that it's in a different vlog before, but I'm gonna read it in the absolute near future, because my friend wants to read it after me, so I have to read it before I can give it to her. But that's gonna be my first prediction. My second, I'm gonna do books that are on my shelf because I can look at them. Oh, Twisted Pride by Cora Riley, the third book of the Kimura Chronicles. I think that's going to be a 5-star read. I'm pretty sure that's a unexpected pregnancy trope, which is one of my absolute favorites. So that's probably going to be a 5-star for me. And then the third one, I think The Wall of Winnipeg with Me. I think that's going to be a 5-star read as well. So those are the 3 like physical books on my shelf. There's probably going to be so many more. I know I want to read like Elsie Silver's series. That was probably going to be 5-star, but physically on my shelf, we'll pick those 3. What genre, subgenre, or trope do you want to read more of? All of them? I feel like I jump around a lot with tropes and genre. I don't think I'm gonna. I don't really. Oh, you know what genre? I want to read more like thriller horror stuff because I keep buying them and I don't read them. Like I have a whole. Oh, it's like over down here, in the behind me. But I have like a bunch of like horror books that I keep getting to read. Like Darcy Coates, I read quite a lot. And just books that I see other people, or mostly Riley from Riley Marie read that sound really good. So I keep acquiring them and I don't read them. So I want to read more like horror thriller genre. Subgenre, definitely historical romance. I have been collecting a bunch of Lorraine Heath's series, the Scoundrels of St. James series, the spin-off one of that. And I'm pretty sure I just completed acquiring those. No, I think I'm missing one. But I really want to read her books, Lorraine Heath especially, and Joanna Shoup. I have a bunch of stuff for her I want to read. But just I'm looking at my historical romance shelf. Sorry, it's over there. But I have so many. I keep getting so many historicals and I don't read them. But I really want to. So definitely historical romance for sure. And trope. Do I want to read more of trope? Like every trope in my head is gone except for accidental pregnancy, secret baby, and I've been reading quite a bit of those because I like those. You know what? I want to read more age gap. I like the age gaps I have not been like big ones, but I want to read more like taboo age gap because I have a bunch of books that are like teacher student, dad's best friend or best friend's dad or whatever that I haven't actually gotten to read yet. So like I have to read, I know Gianna Darling's her Fallen Men series, the first one is Lessons in Corruption, is a teacher student. I just got Lessons in Sin by Pam Godwin. Praise is boyfriend's dad or something like that. Like I have a bunch that I love the trope. I do love the trope. I just don't read that much of it. Name 3. Oh no, what trope do you think will be most popular in 2023? Do I think? Cowboy romance. I also want to read more of those. And it's funny that I haven't read any more, like a lot of those, because I grew up a horse girl. I had a horse growing up. My favorite show was Heartland. You would think I would be like devouring cowboy romances, but I haven't been. But Elsie Silver has been exploding toward the end of 2022. Like everyone has been reading her. I have not read any of her yet, but she is on my like new authors to read list of 2023, which I don't know if I'm gonna do a video of. We'll see. But I think cowboy romances are gonna be big in 2023. People are coming around to them. I wish, I know this isn't gonna happen because so many people hate this trope, but I wish like secret pregnancy, accidental pregnancy would be a trope that people would finally warm up to. But I mean, there are people that like it if it's done right, but some people just hate it in general. And like there are times when I don't like it, because I don't like how it's particularly done. But more often than not, I do really, really enjoy it. So that's that one. Okay, name 3 bookish goals for the year. 3 bookish goals for the year. I mean, aside from my Goodreads goal. Okay, so my first one would be to better keep up with my reviews. I was really, really good last year about writing reviews for everything I read. And then when I hit my reading slump, I kind of stopped writing about them. So, and then I just completely fell off the wagon with that. And I really want to get back into that because it helps me better do these videos, because when I do the review, I'll write the tropes in my review so I know what the hell I can remember and go back to what it's about. I know Avery, from Ava's romance reads. I can't remember, she changed her name a couple times, but she did this really interesting video on how she plans her video content. I'll link that down below. And she has this incredible system of folders by like trope and genre, and it's just like wild. I'm like, I don't know if I have the patience to do that necessarily, but maybe, I don't know, because she does also have on her, she has a shelf on her Goodreads. You can make as many shelves as you want. Each one is like a trope, and she puts books into those. So maybe at one point, if I'm just like want to waste some time or just want some busy work to do, I'll do that, go through my Goodreads list and just move books around. But I don't know. So we'll see how that goes out, but I do want to do more reviews. So my other bookish goal is for the channel, and I want to start actually doing recommendation videos. Now, I don't read a whole lot of books to give you a recommendation video like every few months like most booktubers do, but I do want to give some recommendation videos because I feel like I've read enough now that I can like name some things, because I do have friends at work asking me for recommendations of what to read, but like for the most part it's like they don't really tell me what they're exactly into, so I'm like, I can't give you a specific recommendation, but I can tell you, because they all know I read dark romance, and I have to try to explain that like dark romance is not the same as regular romance, because they're like, they don't like reading romance because it's all like formulaic and just like not interesting, not engaging, it's predictable. And I'm like, no, you have to understand. Dark romance is a completely different thing. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more darker elements. It's more interesting to read about. And they're not stuck to the parameters of a publisher. Most of them, if they're indie published. So anyway, that's the second one. Rec videos. And then the third bookish goal, I'm gonna say, I think I failed this one already, but I will say to kind of rein in my what do you call it? Spontaneous buying of books. Yeah, I say this is the goal for me every year, and every year I fail and completely fail to do it. Is to be a little bit more frugal and conscious of the books that I'm purchasing. I don't even know why I'm saying this, because it's already been thrown out the window, and it's the third week of January as I'm filming this right now. So whatever, but I want to start reading, because I do have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. So if book is available to read on Kindle Unlimited, I want to read it on there first before I go and purchase the book. So far that hasn't worked out well, but there it is. I'm just going to throw it out in the universe. Maybe I'll will it into existence. I don't know. It's just how I am. I enjoy purchasing books. It's like a hobby to me. I enjoy being surrounded by books. Even though I have every intention of reading all of them, I know I'm not going to get to all of them. It's just the way it is. That's just how it is. Okay. Next question is, name 3 personal goals for the year. 3 personal goals. Oh God. The first one is to finish the book that I started writing. Or a book I started, because I started writing, I've mentioned that if you guys have been watching any of my videos toward like the last end of last summer, summer of last year, I started writing a book. I got fairly far in it, and then I kind of hit a wall, which I knew was gonna happen. Like I know things that are gonna happen in the future, but it's getting there that is tripping me up. And I've already written pieces that I'm kind of like, I don't like how this is going. So it's kind of like, do I go back and strip it and rewrite it, or do I leave it sit and start on a different project that I have in my head as well? Like I have a couple different ideas floating around in my brain, and I don't know which one is completely ready to be written out and completed, if that makes any sense. So my one personal goal is to actually finish writing a book. Maybe not necessarily publish it or get it published, yet, but to just have it right, like done and ready and completed, and I can feel like I've actually accomplished something. Because this has been a goal of mine for many, many years. I just never really bit the bullet and went after it and tried until last year. So that's my primary goal, my personal goal. My next one is more of a financial aspect, and that's to save. Start trying to save. Start trying. I have been trying to have a really nice like nest egg, because I do at one point want to move out of this house, preferably out of state, and just completely move away and just start somewhere else. But I don't have a very big like disposable income, which also ties into the not buy so many books that I just because. But I want to start, continue to keep trying to save, and have at least money to like move with. Maybe put a down payment on a house. That's a little bit too ambitious for me at the moment, because this house, I own this house. So I do anticipate I eventually sell it and take the money and purchase a new house, smaller house down south somewhere. So we'll see what I don't know if that's going to be a goal that actually happens in the year, but just at least making moves toward that would be good. A third personal goal. Okay. Third personal goal is to be less introverted, I guess you could say. Like, you can't really be less introverted, but to like take myself out more. Like yesterday, for example, I was invited to a couple of my work friends, who have retired. They started like a day drinkers club where they go to every month, they pick a day. They all get together, go to like a different dive bar around the area and just like hang out and chit chat and, scope the place out, rate it, give it like a personal, just kind of a fun personal rating thing. And I was invited to the one yesterday, and I actually went because it was like right down the road. It wasn't that far from me. So I went and hung out, and it was a really good time. Everyone was like so happy to see me. They were so surprised I even showed up, because I'm one of those people that I like to be invited to things, but I'm probably not going to come. Just FYI. So they were all excited that I came, surprised that I came. It was a nice surprise for them to come. They're like, are you going to join us next month when we go to wherever? And I'm like, sure. Like, it's fun. I enjoy it when I go. It's the getting in the headspace to leave my house and be around a lot of people is where I kind of like start to shut down a little bit, because I'm like, I don't want to leave the comfort of my house. I'm like in the middle, like I'll be in the middle of reading, or I'll be in the middle of writing, I'll be in the middle of doing something that is comforting and happy for me, and then I have to like pull myself out of it because I gotta go get dressed and go get ready to meet all these people. But like when I'm there, it's fine. When I'm there, I have fun and I enjoy my time. It's just, I just gotta get motivated to get up and go. So that's my other thing, is to be more, I guess, more sociable, if you would call it that. To go to these little group things and hang out more. And so my dogs are being crazy. Say hello, Amber. Okay, yes. Oh no, now she's gonna be wild. Okay, sit down, lay down. Okay, well, now I got her riled up, so we're going to finish this real quick. Okay, last final question. What do you want to leave behind in 2022? Well, 2022, I wanted to leave behind 2021, because 2021 was just a disaster of a year. 2022, I just want to leave 2022 behind as well, because in the beginning of that year, actually it was, as the day I'm filming this on January 22nd. My mother passed away on January 20th of 2022. So I spent the vast majority of last year just trying to like deal with her, estate, taking over the house. I've lived in this house for 30 years, and I still had to pay a large chunk of money to keep it, because my name was not as like a second owner of the house. It was all completely under her name, and it was just a hell of a year, like stress wise, money wise. The savings that I did have has been cut in half because I've had to pay her life insurance wasn't enough to cover all of the expenses, so I had to pay quite a bit of money, my own personal money, out of my savings accounts. So that's why one of the reasons I want to try it, because it's been depleted quite a significant amount. And just I just want to move forward. I know, like, I don't think I didn't grieve, like, I don't know. I'm someone, I think I compartmentalize a lot, so I put the grief and that whole, like, sadness and just what do I do now, I kind of like tucked it away and just kept moving forward like it was like nothing. And I still don't think I've ever, it's just kind of like, I don't want to say it is what it is, but like, people die. You just kind of have to figure out how to go on from there. And like, my thing was like, I had to focus on, okay, like I have to do this because I'm an only child. I'm the only person that can do it. And that's responsible for it, for, you know, doing her funeral expense, doing her funeral and doing which I didn't end up doing, but that's a whole other, not even gonna go there. And like, I have to take care of the estate. I have to figure out what to do with the house. I have to figure out what to do with her car and what to do with this and what to do with that. Like, I was just so like, I have to pay attention to this, that I just kind of like didn't let myself be sad. I was sad for, you know, the day after and the few days after, but then it was just kind of like, okay, well, that time's up now. You need to move on and figure out. So I'm kind of like, for a lot of the year, I felt guilty about that I wasn't feeling sad and I wasn't grieving like you probably should. And I did feel guilty because I didn't do a funeral. I didn't do a service or anything like that because I just wasn't in like the headspace to do it. I didn't think I would have to be the one to put it all together, and I didn't want to. It was hard enough having to go to the cemetery and the funeral home and talk with the funeral director about what I wanted to do. Like, she was cremated, but like, we had to pick out the urn, you had to do this, you had to do that. And I'm just like, I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to do any of this. So yeah, that's just, I just want to leave that whole year behind, and the way I was last year, just leave it completely at the wayside and like try to just pick up and start again. And I realized like that I had the whole year to do it because she died at the beginning of the year, but like, we didn't finish her estate, like completely close it out and be done with it until October. So it was a process. And then the lawyer I had passed away, like I was just like, it was just the whole thing. So anyway, that's a little bit of a personal story about me that many of you may not have known about. I did mention in a couple videos about my mom passing, like when I was doing putting the library together, because this was her old bedroom. So I turned it into my library. But so I did kind of mention what was going on. But other than that, I didn't really talk a whole lot about it because I intended to do a whole video on it, but I decided not to go there at all. So this is probably about the most you're probably ever going to get me to talk about it. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what I want to leave behind in 2022, just like all of that year. And I want to start a new beginning, new year, new me is that the saying, right? But we'll see how that turns out. I may just revert to old ways. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm going to leave it on that somber note, unfortunately. But I will leave links to everything down below. I'll leave links to Jessen's channel, who I'm pretty sure she's the one that made this. I think. And I will also leave the prompts and the questions down below if you guys want to do it. I'm not going to tag anybody. I wouldn't even know who to tag. But so if you're watching this, happen to be watching this, and you want to do this video, tag, you're it. Okay, that's it, everybody. I will see you in my next video. Bye.